Hello, my name is Katie Williams. I'm the school nurse for the Indianola Middle School and High School.
And I'm Josh Lohman, Dean of Students at Indianola High School.
Today we're going to give you an overview of our Return to Learn protocol with the goal to help educators and administrators better understand our protocol and the tools we use to put this into practice. So where do we start? We asked ourselves the same question you're likely asking. We began by assembling a team of stakeholders. This included the Dean of Students, the school nurse, the school counselor, and the athletic trainer. We met multiple times throughout the 2017-2018 school year, reviewing the REAP manual and the Concussion Management guidelines for Iowa schools. Our objective was to take a broad legislative mandate and create a specific protocol with steps and guidelines and actions for our building administrators and nurses to follow, with the goal of having a standardized process throughout the entire district. We also wanted to create a protocol that allowed flexibility based on the fact that no two students are the same, nor are two concussions, even for the same student, the same. Step 1, the concussion diagnosis. We knew we needed to have a standardized entry point for the concussion protocol, and after much discussion, we decided we would require a written diagnosis from either the athletic trainer or the primary care provider. This decision was based on the fact that we must have a written diagnosis per the House File 2442 for a student to return to full activity. Again, we recognize the value of having an athletic trainer on site, and we use that athletic trainer as a vital member of our team, and this we know is not available to all districts. Requiring a written diagnosis to initiate the concussion protocol then begs the question, what do we do if a student is experiencing symptoms but does not have a diagnosis? We start by reaching out to the parents and use this as an opportunity to educate parents on concussions. Most parents are willing to seek medical care at this time, but if not, again, we are blessed by that athletic trainer and we can get that diagnosis if we need it.
The second step is meeting with the student. Once a diagnosis has been received, the building lead should initiate contact with the family if communication has not already been established. At Indianola High School, that would be me as the Dean of Students. During this conversation, I will explain our protocol to the parents and schedule a time to meet with the parents and student, or perhaps with just the student. In many cases, the student has not returned to school following the injury, so getting a meeting scheduled before they return is ideal. In meeting with the student, I first ask him or her to complete the symptom checklist from the REAP manual. The checklist is a self-assessment survey where the student will respond to prompts and rate his or her symptoms from a 0, which is a non-symptom, to a 6, which is severe. What I really like about this survey is that as a student recovers, the student and I have data that shows which symptoms are progressing and what accommodations can be adjusted. It is much more defined than asking a student if they still have a headache and receiving a yes or no response. I then reference a symptom wheel also located in the REAP manual, asking students about what cognitive, physical, and emotional symptoms he or she is experiencing. The data that is collected is then used to determine what specific accommodations are needed. The Return to Learn accommodations form that we have included in this PowerPoint and that you can see on the right side of the slide is a starting point for us when working with a student. This is a working document where we can add or delete accommodations that we deem appropriate. As you can see, we have general accommodations, but also more specific accommodations that are aligned with the different type of symptoms students may be experiencing based on what they identified in the symptom checklist and what they provided me when reviewing the symptom wheel. For example, if a student has identified a physical or sleep energy symptom that he is drowsy and wants to sleep, we would allow him to take rest breaks throughout the course of the day or perhaps attend for only a half day of school. If a student reported light sensitivity as severe on her survey, we may give her the option of wearing sunglasses or restricting computer usage. Communication with the various stakeholders throughout the process is very important. It is important to help teachers understand the responsibility involved with making sure that accommodations are being provided. Teachers and parents need to understand that accommodations are fluid and may change on a weekly or even a daily basis. Finally, I stress that open lines of communication are needed between all parties involved. That would include the student, parents, teachers, school nurse, healthcare provider, school counselor, so that we can ensure we are doing everything we can to aid the student in his or her recovery. Once accommodations have been implemented, frequent follow-up with the student is needed to review the symptom checklist and symptom wheel to see how the student's recovery is progressing. Depending on the severity of the symptoms, I may meet every other day with the student. As we progress to a full recovery, we will meet daily. We feel it's important for buildings to have multiple people trained to meet with students to review, discuss symptoms, and to provide appropriate accommodations in case the building lead is unavailable. Return to learn accommodations are updated with a new document being shared with the student, his or her teachers, and parents. It is possible that after meeting with the student, no changes need to be made and the current plan continues as written. This process is repeated frequently as symptoms change until the student is symptom-free and prepared to return to a full academic load without accommodations.
Step 5, the transition to return to play. What does pre-concussion actually mean? Essentially, it means that the student no longer needs the accommodations provided in the return to learn protocol. Again, there's great value in communication with the classroom teachers, parent, and student as the student is progressing. Returning to the pre-concussion level typically is a gradual process and rarely is an abrupt return to full academic load. Once the return to learn protocol is completed, the return to play protocol is in effect, and the parent and student have the option to meet with the athletic trainer or their primary care provider. For the purpose of our return to learn protocol, the team determined that PE should be considered under the return to play protocol. So while students will be back to full academic coursework for traditional classes, they will not be cleared to return to PE just yet. And finally, once clearance has been obtained from either the athletic trainer or primary care provider, meaning they have completed the return to play protocol, the student is returned to full participation of all activities. This form is used throughout the entire process, and it serves as a visual reminder and a checklist. We've often accepted email or verbal confirmation of understanding, as we do not want this to create a barrier to full participation.
What we have learned. First, this is a fantastic opportunity to build relationships. From the moment we make contact with parents and explain our protocol, parents are genuinely excited and thankful for the support we are providing their child. Recovering from a concussion is a difficult time for families, and they often have a lot of questions. Knowing that their child will be supported in school is a tremendous relief to parents and students. Students themselves feel supported. Having a go-to person who they can ask questions or advocate for them helps take away a lot of anxiety from them returning to school. Students often need to be reassured that they are making progress and that the accommodations provided will help them stay on their academic track. We have identified a next level of work that we are going to continue to put more thought into beyond our current protocol. In a number of cases, students have cleared protocol. They will still struggle in returning to their pre-concussion academic performance levels, meaning they are symptom-free and have passed return to play protocol as well, but still may have not returned to normal sleeping patterns or having certain issues retrieving memory. Students may have missed an important skill taught in a class during recovery that now needs further practice. Continue to monitor students following protocol is something to definitely have a plan for.
And finally, we've listed our resources. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. We know this is a large undertaking. We wish you good luck as you prepare and implement your own return to learn protocol.